Okay, so I have Bruce Deerhake with me, and he saw Zeppelin live. Bruce, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Chaz?
I'm great, thank you. I appreciate your willingness to come on the podcast and talk about your experiences. When did you see him? What was the show?
It was the Pontiac Silverdome in Michigan on April 30th, 1977.
Wow, how big was that place? That was a pretty big place, right? One of the bigger shows they ever played.
Yeah, I think it was the biggest indoor show they ever played. It was just shy of 80,000 people.
Man, I can't imagine the atmosphere of that place with 80,000 people in it waiting to see Led Zeppelin. That had to be maddening. That had to be crazy.
Yeah, it was the atmosphere that was probably the most memorable thing. I mean, like you looked around at other people, and we were just, we couldn't believe we were there, and just to feel the energy that came from the fans and then came right back from the band. You could tell the band was into it as well.
Yeah, do you think that, say, for instance, if you had gone to another show, which I'm sure you went to other shows back in the day from other bands, but were any of those shows, was the energy equivalent to that Zeppelin show?
No, there's nothing close. But I was a big Zepp head. Always been a big Zepp head. They've always been my favorite, and I never thought I would be able to see them really, because they're that big. So it was hard for me to give you an honest answer on that. But personally, no, there was nothing that even came close to that show.
So how were you in general? You had general admission tickets, and for a specific section, right?
Right, yeah, and that was kind of strange because it said section and then general, but then it said general admission. So we originally thought that the whole thing, maybe they just canceled the section stuff and went general admission only. So we got there real early, like 5 or 6 hours ahead of time, and we picked out some good seats. And then we sat there for a while, and then we found out that we were in the wrong section, so we had to go to the section where we were supposed to be. But it was general admission per section, at least where we were at.
Okay, so when you had to move seats, were the seats actually better at that point, or did you kind of lose out a little bit?
We lost out. I mean, they were closer, but they were more to the side of the stage, so we couldn't see Bonzo except on the big screen or during the acoustic section or during his drum solo when the whole riser slid out.
Right, and that's something that a lot of people don't realize and really have no idea. Is on that tour, his riser actually moves forward towards the front of the stage. And if you watch like the Seattle 77 footage, that doesn't really come across on that footage, so you don't really notice that. So I didn't even realize that until a few years ago. And I'm a huge Bonham fan, and a buddy of mine told me that. So I was like, oh, really? And it was kind of bummed me out that I hadn't known that, claiming to be such a huge Bonham fan. But so how long, when did they let you into the arena? Like, how long did you have to sit there before lights went down and band came on?
It was we were there about 5 or 6 hours before the show started.
Wow, that's brutal, man.
Yeah, but there was so much to watch. There were so many people.
Right.
Just it was crazy.
I just can't fathom. I mean, I've seen your pictures online, and I just can't fathom that amount of people to see a concert. I mean, it just blows my mind. I've seen some shows, and you're like 25,000 people, and that just seems like a crap ton of people. But I can't imagine 80,000 people in an indoor stadium to see one band. Yeah. I mean, that's just I can't wrap my head around that. So
yeah. I've been to a lot of football games over the years too, where, in big stadiums and that kind of stuff. But with the concerts, the people are on the floor as well. So it was just like, everywhere. People walk, every inch of the place was covered with people pretty much.
Right. And so you're sitting there in your seats, and I'm guessing the band was due to come on at 8:00 or 9:00, something around there usually. So you're sitting there. What came over you as soon as those house lights dropped? I mean, did it just, this feeling of electricity run through you, and you knew, all right, man, we're finally going to get to see Zeppelin?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like kind of like my heart dropped or that kind of thing. It's like, this is it. We've been, it had the tickets for months, and then we sat there for hours, and the anticipation was unreal. And then all of a sudden, this is it. It was big.
Oh man, that's fantastic. Unfortunately, I never got to see him. I was a little bit younger when Bonzo passed away, so I get to live my life through the bootlegs and the recordings that we all collect, and so you're sitting there and you're watching the show, and I mean, did the energy level sustain the entire show for you?
To be honest, not quite, because it was a 3-hour show, and so there were periods where maybe you felt more relaxed. Or, and then those solos that they all did were kind of, long, and I won't use the word boring because I could sit there all day. But the energy level changed from time to time, but I mean, it always just, came right back at certain points in time, if you know what I mean.
Right. So as you make it to the end of the show and the band walks off stage and the house lights come back up, how were you processing the fact that you just saw your favorite band for the last 3 hours? What was going through your mind? I mean, you had to be on a high. No pun intended, yeah. I guess, but I mean, you had to be riding high with adrenaline and emotion. And what was going through your mind?
Well, I knew that I had seen probably one of the, probably the best concert I've ever seen in my life. Hopefully, I was hoping that I would see them more, but I knew up until that point there was not much that happened in my life that was that much of an experience. I knew what it was. I knew what it was, before, during, and after. I knew that it was going to be a big highlight of my life, and here it is, almost 50 years later, and it still ranks right up there.
Right. Has any other bands that you've seen? I'm sure you've been to a million concerts like I have. Have there been any other bands that came close to the anticipation and the energy level and the overall atmosphere and experience that you enjoyed seeing Zeppelin?
Nothing really came close. I will mention I saw Pink Floyd in Ohio Stadium, which is an outdoor stadium. And there were probably, I don't know, there's probably at least 50,000 people there in an outdoor stadium at night. And I'm not a huge Floyd fan, but it was just, they put on quite a show, and there was some anticipation, and that was kind of cool, but it wasn't even close. That's about the only thing that comes to mind.
Right. Was that original Floyd, or was that like 86, or what was it, 88, 94 Floyd?
It was 80s.
Okay. So it was when they got back together minus Roger Waters. Okay. So
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, they were. I lived in Vegas, and they were due to play Vegas in '94, and they announced that tickets were going on sale, and then like an hour before tickets were going on sale, they canceled the show. So we didn't get to see them, but that's all right. That's perfectly fine. So I really appreciate the fact that you decided to come on here and give your testimonial for the show. Thank you again. And, let's hope there's plenty of more shows in our future from other bands and we get to enjoy it. And I mean, we have the recordings of the show, so we get to go back and live it. And, that's basically, we can hit that rewind button and play it over and over and over again and relive it over and over and over again. So, Bruce.
And maybe that video.
Yeah, maybe one day. I mean, it's rumored to be out there. I mean, if you're going to put it on the screen, why not record it? And I mean, I had a buddy that he had actually seen a snippet of Houston 77 because they had the screens there. So whether he's full of it or he actually saw it, I don't know. I can't attest to that anymore. Unfortunately, he's passed away. But he claimed to see it, and we've got Seattle, so you just never know. I mean, they could be out there, so could be. Well, Bruce, thank you again, my friend. I really appreciate you coming on, and hopefully we'll chat soon.
Can I plug my webpage?
Oh, absolutely, man. I am so sorry. Please do.
That's okay. I have a Led Zeppelin webpage. It's really old. It's really outdated. It hasn't been updated in a long time, but I do have the internet's oldest Led Zeppelin website in continuous operation since 1994. Like I said, it's a piece of crap right now, but it does have a link to my review that I wrote for the Pontiac Silverdome show. My website address is oldbuckeye.com, OLDBUCKEYE.com. And if you scroll down a little bit, it says read my review and pictures from the 1977 Pontiac Silverdome show. I have a couple other stuff on there. I have an interview with Jason Bonham that I did back in the 90s, and there's just a bunch of stuff. But there's a whole lot of broken links on there, and I don't know. It just takes time, and maybe someday I'll make it better, but I doubt it.
Well, I checked it out yesterday, actually, when I reread your story, which I've read a million times. I checked it out again yesterday, and I crossed my fingers and clicked on that Underground Uprising link, and unfortunately that site is gone and probably not coming back, but I always enjoyed reading the reviews of the Zepp live releases and that type of thing from there, and it's just all that is gone, so that's unfortunate. Yeah. All right, my friend. Well, best of luck to you in the future. Stay healthy, and we'll chat soon, my friend.
You too, buddy.
All right, take care, sir.
See ya.
Bye-bye.